Mm-hmm. Hello out there on the internet. We're having a little house concert in the living room for this March of 2022. This is just a little informal living room house concert, not particularly well premeditated, I suppose, but I've been doing a lot of music for my youngest child, who's 3 years old, and she frequently requests songs that she knows because there's videos of these songs, animated videos online on YouTube, and I thought I'd do some of these songs that Koto likes, and maybe there's other kids out there who'd like to hear them. But I'll do requests or I can see your comments and questions, requests, anything coming on. If you're on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, I can see them. So feel free to say anything. We went to the Oaks Park, an amusement park in Portland yesterday that opened up again for the warmer weather, and we were riding roller coasters. This is one of Koto's favorites. Videos for these songs. I'll do some children's songs, and there's videos for them on YouTube, animated videos done by a wonderful Norwegian animator named Bjorn Magni Stusdal. I live in the city, travel on the subway. That's how I get around, usually once or twice a day. It can be kind of dull, till one day that all changed, when I was riding on a roller coaster train. I don't know quite what happened, but something surely did. The businessman beside me and his coffee flipped its lid. Normal operations just went right down the drain, when I was riding on a roller coaster train. Normally the subway just goes straight ahead, but that day I went side to side and around it quickly sped. Suitcases were flying, they came down like the rain, when I was riding on a roller coaster train. It was not a good day to be eating chicken soup, 'cause that train went up and it went down and then it did a loop. I swear to you that morning was really quite insane, when I was riding on a roller coaster train. First it turned a corner, then it turned around. Next thing we all knew, we were upside down. Someone's groceries were airborne, out flew a candy cane, when I was riding on a roller coaster train. I had coffee on my pants, chicken soup upon my cheek. By the time the subway stopped, I felt just a little weak, and there was a woozy feeling somewhere in my brain, when I finally got off of that roller coaster train. Oh yeah, the new webcam. I got a new webcam, which I should have done a long time ago. Here's another of Koto's favorites, which has a wonderful video. When Koto requests these songs, which she does every day. It's how I get a lot of my practice these days. She requests these songs, and then she, while I'm singing them, her eyes are blinking a lot, like, and really rapidly. And I think clearly, I have no doubt, what's happening is she's watching the video in her head as I'm singing the song for her, because she originally was requesting to watch the video, but I'm not going to play her videos of my songs. I'll sing them for her, and so she settles for that. Now she doesn't ask for the videos; she just asks me to sing. And I'm gonna fly up in the sky. Gonna fly up in the sky. Gonna fly up in the sky. Gonna fly so high. I'm gonna fly above the moon. Gonna fly above the moon. Gonna fly up above the moon. I might not come back soon. Gonna fly way out to Mars. Gonna fly way out to Mars. Gonna fly way out to Mars. Just me, Mars, and the stars. Gonna head up to Saturn's rings. Gonna head up to Saturn's rings. Gonna head up to Saturn's rings. Gonna see all kinds of things. I'm gonna spin through space to Pluto. Gonna spin through space to Pluto. Gonna spin through space to Pluto. So many places I'll go. Upon frozen ground, gonna dance upon the frozen ground, gonna dance upon the frozen ground, dance, dance all around. Gonna look down at Earth, it's green and blue. Gonna look down at Earth, it's green and blue. Gonna look down at Earth, it's green and blue. Gonna look right back at you. Gonna fly back home and go to bed. Fly back home and go to bed. Gonna fly back home and go to bed with a pillow underneath my head. Yeah, she settles for my live set for sure. It's not the video, but it's okay. And she sings along too, but usually very quietly. This next one is questionable, I guess, whether it's a children's song or not. But it's on one of my children albums. Oh, this is a octave mandolin. Octave mandolin. It's like a mandolin, but an octave lower, and I'm tuned to the tuning. I'm tuned to is let's see, what is it? C G C F. No, that's totally not true. I'm tuned to G D G C. That's what it is. But I mean, it's the same idea. It was just C G C F is how I tune a mandolin or a mandocello, but the octave mandolin Starts with G. Not that you have to start it with G, but it works good that way. When I came out of my mama, they cut my umbilical cord. I thought, hey man, what are you doing? And I let out a mighty roar. I got my first piercing when they stabbed me with a pin. Pumped me full of something and hit me in the shin. Ever since that moment, I've just been full of scorn. I've been a punk rock baby since the day that I was born. I got my first mohawk at the age of 1. Stole my old man's razor and then the job was done. I got a leather jacket at the age of 2. Put spikes all over it with some super glue. I started scratching at my pants until they were all torn. I've been a punk rock baby since the day that I was born. I got my first electric guitar at the age of 3. Turned the volume up just as high as it could be. I yelled into the mic about all the things I felt about this nasty world and the cards we'd all been dealt. About the toxic sludge that made me angry and forlorn. I've been a punk rock baby since the day that I was born. Dropped out of nursery school at the age of 4. I said, hey, this place is boring. I am going out the door. I headed straight downtown, sat down in the park, met some other punks, stayed out till way past dark. Partied till the dawn, came back home in the morn. I've been a punk rock baby since the day that I was born. I moved into a squat at the age of 5. Behind the barricades I waited for the cops to arrive. I climbed onto the roof and said, here's where I'm gonna stay, and I'm gonna be a rebel until I'm old and gray. Between the toes of your establishment, I'll always be a thorn. I've been a punk rock baby since the day that I was born. I've been a punk rock baby since the day that I was born. And I went to play at the playground to do things I like so much. Run with my friends, play make-believe, swing on the swings and such. This morning I went to the playground and bullies were guarding the swings. They knocked over the slide, dumped out the sandbox, took away all of our things. This playground is run by bullies, and they're all so big and mean. But this playground was made for all of us, and we're gonna change this scene. Were scared of the bullies. They were so big and we were so small. Till somebody said if we organized, we could be 10 feet tall. We stood on each other's shoulders, put blankets over our heads. We looked like monsters and we roared like lions, and those bullies ran home and hid under their beds. This playground was run by bullies, and they're all so big and mean. But this playground was made for all of us, and we're gonna change this scene. Well, we got that playground back. But then we looked across the street, saw the sewage plant belching out smoke, poisoning the ground under our feet, giving us all asthma, and the hour is getting late. So we marched across the way, and we blocked that factory gate. 'Cause this world is run by bullies, and they're all so big and mean. But this world was made for all of us, and we're gonna change this scene. This world is run by bullies, and they're all so big and mean. But this world was made for all of us, and we're gonna change this scene. So, what else? Let's see. Something else with a video. What did I do? What was her other request? Did I just do them all, maybe? Oh, no, there's one more, right? One more with a video. One more of my children's songs with a video. Then we'll move on to other material. I went outside one day and a man was standing there. He had a great big beard and lots of hair. He said, won't you come down to the shore and join my jolly crew? We'll wander around the world beneath the skies of blue. We'll sail upon the 7 seas, travel near and far. Take from the rich and give to the poor and say har, 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 har. We'll go out on the ocean, and when the coast is clear, we'll eat birthday cake each day of the year. We'll land on a little island, then we'll form a choir, blow on whistles and kazoos, and dance around a fire. We'll sail upon the 7 seas, travel near and far. Take from the rich and give to the poor, and say har, 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 har. We see the Navy, we will shout with pride. We are scary, hairy pirates, so you better run and hide. We'll stamp our feet upon the floor and our peg legs too. We'll take your stolen treasure, 'cause that's what pirates do. We'll sail upon the 7 seas, travel near and far. Take from the rich and give to the poor and say har, 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 har. We'll sail upon the 7 seas, travel near and far. Take from the rich and give to the poor and say har, 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 har. And at the end of the Punk Rock Baby song, as a video, as well as on the video for Riot Dog, which is not technically a children's song, but is a favorite of my 3-year-old because it has a video and it's it's a song with an animated video. It's not necessarily a children's song. If you watch the video, you'll see, but it works just fine for kids as long as you don't mind, teaching your kids that it's good to bite cops if you're a dog, for example. Certain lessons like that, which you may or may not want to teach your children, but my children have yet to bite a cop, so, they don't seem to take it too literally. Lots of folks are revolting. They've had enough of this shit. The rich are getting richer. They're saying that's it. But with Luke, it's different, that's clear. As he emerges from the fog, let's hear it for Luke Hanikos, the Riot Dog. It's a fight between people, but he is no pawn. He knows exactly which side he's on. In the machine of capital, he is no cog. Let's hear it for Lucanicos, the Riot Dog. When a smoke bomb comes towards him, he kicks it back at the fuzz. Acts a bit different than a normal dog does. He's got a fan page on Facebook, but he's got no time for a blog. Let's hear it for Lucanicos, the Riot Dog. Let's hear it for Lucanicos, the Riot Dog. And then there's another favorite of Kotos is the one that she and her brother Utah, they tried to request this song from YouTube, and when they do, then they ask, they say, whatever they say, YouTube tends to think they're saying banana kiss. And then there's apparently some videos about bananas and kissing bananas, and I don't know how appropriate they are for kids, but that's what comes up. But finally, they have now learned how to say the title closely enough so that it comes out like anarchist than you. So then anarchist than you. You don't need I'm a better, just anarchist than you. It will work. Can you sing anarchist than you? Then they don't know what it's about, but that works. And we have a question about TikTok entering the music industry, launching Sound On, giving artists 100% of revenue the first year. Yeah, I haven't heard about them giving artists 100% of the revenue or how that works. But definitely TikTok. TikTok is a platform that is paying artists for all that music that you hear on TikTok. So contrary to a lot of popular rumors and mythology and whatever goes around, when you hear music on TikTok, whether it's me or some famous pop music, which of course is much more often the case, then you can be sure that those artists are being compensated by TikTok through the same kinds of avenues as the streaming platforms. So like if an artist is registered through the streaming platforms in the usual sorts of ways, then TikTok just behaves as one of those, just like Spotify and Apple Music and all that. So I don't know how well they pay relative to the other platforms, but they certainly have a large audience and are becoming a very significant player in the music streaming business, as far as I know, but I don't know the details in terms of how much of that business they're taking and how much money they're distributing to artists and stuff like that. But they are definitely distributing money. They are not stealing the music in any kind of way that people might think. Some people think or just assume that's what's happening. Like, also these days, if you get a takedown notice or you get a notification on YouTube that you're using somebody's copyrighted music, they don't take it down, unlike on Facebook, which is different, where they don't deal with the music industry and everything just gets muted if it's copyrighted. But on YouTube, they'll tell you you can't monetize that, but other people can. Get the royalties that they're due, basically. So you can leave that video up, and the money goes to whoever owns the music. That's how they do it. And somebody's asking, did I write "Kiss Behind the Barricades"? I did, and I didn't come up with the concept of "Kissing Behind the Barricades." That was a famous photograph from Paris in 1968. But I did write the song, and I so agree that Lorna McKinnon sings so beautifully, and everything she does is amazing, as a musician as well as an organizer. She's an extremely impressive individual, and she needs to play more music as far as I'm concerned, but I'm kind of partial to those kinds of things. And speaking of Lorna, and speaking of, which reminds me of Glasgow and reminds me of Europe, and somebody else, Mina in Nebraska, mentions Minnesota. I'm really looking forward to going to Minnesota on Friday, although I shall miss my kids. But I will be in Minnesota from Friday for 8 days, basically barnstorming around the 1st Congressional District southeast of Minneapolis, with a wonderful man named Rick DeVoe, who is running for Congress on the DFL ticket. Well, he's running for the primary, and on May 24th, we find out if he wins, and then if he does, then, of course, he'll be going on to run for the congressional seat. Go to votedevoe.us for more info on that. And also, I have a section on my website, davidrovics.com/votedevoe, if people want to see what I'm doing with Rick. And also, I have a playlist of songs that are relevant to the campaign, including a campaign song that I wrote for the campaign called Vote DeVoe, which, now that we mention it, perhaps that would be a good thing to do. Let's see, where is it? It's did I put it in a sensible place, like alphabetical order? Let's see. Yeah. Red Wing, Minnesota, on the 24th of May. Vote that could determine what the Congress has to say about the state of this nation. Where we go from here in the 1st Congressional District, the choice is pretty clear: to take a stand for the people, the 99%. Whether you're doing fine or you can't afford the rent, if we're in this boat together, then on election day, let's go. Vote for Rick DeVoe. In Red Wing, Minnesota, you won't find many crooks, but you may run across a place called Fair Trade Books. That's the base of operations, where the change will start if all the voters of the district show up and do our part to take a stand for the people, the 99%. Whether you're doing fine or you can't afford the rent, if we're in this boat together, then on election day, let's go. Vote for Rick DeVoe. Minnesota, solutions may be found in the pages of the volumes lined up all around. We can take care of each other. There's work for everyone. There's housing, there's health care, there's the wind and sun. So take a stand for the people, the 99%. Whether you're doing fine or you can't afford the rent, if we're in this boat together, then on election day, let's go. Vote for Rick DeVoe. Vote for Rick DeVoe. That's my latest composition. Maybe I'll do another one, another recent one, although it's now we're getting into reality here. I mean, a bit too much for comfort, but there's a lot of terribly uncomfortable realities. Lightning and thunder, those left alive as long as they live will wonder, was there something that could have been done before nuclear winter blocked out the sun, after the earth that we once knew was blown asunder? At the end of World War III, any pundits that may still be found will have heated debates about how the end came round. Was it the Black Sea blockade when the rush for the end times was made, or the breaking of promises promised when the wall came down? At the end of World War III, as people look for clean water to drink, as they're dreaming of the days when they had a kitchen sink, wishing they could try again to talk to belligerent men, back when we were only hanging on the brink. At the end of World War III, everyone has the same thought. Is this what imperial intransigence wrought? Life under occupation, or the end of creation? Decisions that decades of lost opportunities brought. At the end of World War III, with billions dead or dying, won't matter who was right or who was lying. When civilization has ended, once the last war had descended, only then will there be no one left denying. At the end of World War III, as the few left alive survey the rubble remaining, wondering how long they'll survive, too late to question the story of expansion or conquest or glory. No time to rewind from the date Armageddon arrived. At the end of World War III, let's see. And I just spilled coffee. But only a very minor spill. Far short of the Exxon Valdez. But it reminds me, of course, of a song. And I was just in Iceland. I had a wonderful tour in Iceland, and wonderful couple of folks showed me all over the western section of the island, and I also had great gigs all over Denmark as well as in Norway and Sweden. And I'm coming back to Europe next month, lest anybody have missed that little note. I shall be in Minnesota, leaving on Friday, this coming Friday, in less than a week. I'll be in Minnesota for 8 days, traveling around the 1st Congressional District with Rick DeVoe, barnstorming, playing music, giving speeches, running for office, or he is anyway, and I'm encouraging him. And if you happen to be in Minnesota, or you happen to know anybody in the 1st Congressional District of Minnesota, such as people in Mankato, the town most well known for the biggest mass hanging in U.S. history, and important to note, we were talking about U.S. history, not not colonial history, because the biggest mass hanging in colonial history was bigger. But there were mass hangings. The British carried out mass hangings of pirates in Boston Commons. That I believe where they hanged more than 100 people in the same day. There was also other notable mass hangings in pre-colonial or in pre-U.S. and colonial history, but also in U.S. history. The biggest mass hanging, I'm pretty sure, was in the 1860s in Minnesota, Mankato, Minnesota, where they hanged 38 Mendota people for basically rebelling against starvation. And then anyway, we'll be in Mankato and Red Wing, which is it's a town that you may have heard of. If you're a big Bob Dylan fan, then you have heard of Red Wing because he wrote a song about the prison that's in Red Wing. And then Rochester is another. I believe that's right? Rochester, Minnesota, which is one of the bigger towns. I guess a lot of people think of Rochester as a suburb of Minneapolis, which it may or may not be, but in any case, it's also the home of the Mayo Clinic. And one of the towns, I believe, in the 1st Congressional District. And and we'll be, hopefully, we'll be, these, it's a shoestring operation, as things often are on the left, but there will hopefully be a wonderful guy coming out from Seattle with a van that has been known in the past as the Bernie van, but is nowadays being called different things, including the banned bookmobile. Basically, you could change the text on it with magnets, so you can make it what you want it to be. But it's a van with a sound system built in, run on boat batteries, and very, very professional, very good sound, and basically the ideal traveling barnstorming vehicle with sound and lights and all that. So hopefully we'll have that with us. Otherwise we'll wing it with some kind of a rented sound system and go barnstorming around. Barnstorming is the term. That is the proper term for what we're doing. And I looked it up to make sure that is actually the term, because when I think of barnstorming, I think of my good friend Attila the Stockbroker's band, Barnstormer, which is a wonderful, wonderful punk rock band, which is rooted in the same ideas, political traditions. But in the case of, that's what we'll be barnstorming. And when I was in Iceland, it was a pleasure to, I'm switching gears here, but when I was in Iceland, it was nice to sing songs about Iceland that I've written since the last time I was in Iceland. It was a long time ago. There was a few years, as these things go, this is sort of typical for anybody interested, curious, of the life of the traveling musician. If people might occasionally wonder, as like some people do, specifically in Iceland, like why was I there frequently for several years, and then people didn't see me after that or before that, the span of several years, and some people there wondered, like, if there was a reason. And indeed there is a reason, and as there almost always is with these things. In the case of Iceland, it was that after the great financial collapse of 2008, the Iceland air became the cheapest way to travel across the Atlantic, as it had been in the 60s, as people older than me fondly recall, because in the 60s that was a very common way for hippies to get over to Europe without spending too much money. But that changed, and Iceland air became a very expensive way to travel for a long time, although still a good deal if you want to actually visit Iceland. But if you're trying to travel across the Atlantic, it was for a long time no longer the cheapest way to go. But then for a few years after the financial collapse, it was the cheapest way to travel. And so even though I never have gigs there that pay particularly well, it didn't matter because I was just going to be going through Reykjavik anyway. So as long as I had some kind of a gig and a place to stay, then it was always worth stopping by. So I did that quite a few, sometimes more than once in a year, I think. But that all changed, and now SAS is once again the cheapest way to get to Copenhagen. So I'm usually on SAS and not passing through Reykjavik. But when I was last in Reykjavik just a couple weeks ago, it was so nice to reconnect with folks, and one of whom I would have liked to reconnect with, but he was killed in Syria, and I want to write a song about him. And if anybody else knew Högkur, then tell me about him. Tell me about your friendship with Högkur. But this song went over well, and I suspect it's because people can relate to fishing in Iceland. I'm a fisherman, so were my parents. Here in Cordova, on Prince William Sound, I'm not a tree hugger, but I love the mountains. Hauling in the gill net with the ocean all around. Life was good here, you could raise a family with 100,000 tons of herring set out every year. 1989, the tanker grounded. Nothing's ever been the same around here. Senator Stevens said not one drop of oil would spill on Alaska's shores, and if it happened, it would be cleaned up. But our beaches were still covered, as was the ocean floor. 4 years passed, each run collapsed. It was then we knew for sure the herring weren't coming back. Exxon's promises of compensation were about as empty as a used-up paper sack. It was August 20th, 1993, when we fishermen decided something must be done. We packed some groceries, we made some banners, headed out to Valdez Narrows beneath the midnight sun. 100 vessels took to the water, pushed through a storm and to the Valdez Sea. We lined up our boats, formed a blockade, and we waited for whatever might be. A tanker was approaching. It was a sight to see there in the twilight of the day. We saw it turning. We all cheered and cried as tanker after tanker after tanker turned away. A Coast Guard gunship from Seattle would take 3 days to get up to the Sound. We held the line till then we went back home to Cordova, to this hallowed oiled ground. I am a fisherman, so were my parents. here in Cordova on Prince William Sound. Let's see here. Name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army, slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. It was there in the pueblos and hillsides that I saw the mistake I had made. Part of a conquering army with the morals of a bayonet blade. And there amidst all these poor dying Catholics, screaming children, the burning stench of it all, myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. Marched neath the green flag of St. Patrick, emblazed with Erin go bra, bright with the harp and the shamrock, and Libertad para Republica. Just 50 years after Wolfe Tone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may, but from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. fought them in 5 major battles. Churubusco was the last. Overwhelmed by the cannons from Boston, we fell after each mortar blast. Most of us died on that hillside, working for the Mexican state. Far from occupied homeland, we were heroes and victims of fate. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. Do a couple more for you. Children played in the playground, swinging on swings. Didn't hear the sound of the single plane that flew overhead. Third shift workers just going to bed. There was a flash of light, rumbling noise, gone in an instant. Girls and boys, 10,000 mothers were boiling rice. 3,000 prisoners of war were rolling the dice, hoping they'd survive this terrible storm. Each young man in his uniform vanished in the air in the blink of an eye. One moment they lived, and the next they all died. Hiroshima. Hiroshima. 10,000 lovers made love to each other, each one of them thinking there might not be another, living so long with death everywhere. Much more than one person alone can bear. There wasn't time for a final kiss. Who could have known it would end like this? Hiroshima. Hiroshima. 200,000 people were living their lives. Grandparents, children, fathers and wives. Now they're just shadows on the street. Such a quick burst of incredible heat. Now listen to them talk about doing it again. From whence came the souls of these terrible men? Hiroshima. 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 That's a song that goes out to the people that run the only country that ever used nuclear weapons. And this is a song about the kind of world I want to see. I'll be in Europe for May Day. I'll sing this song on May Day somewhere in Europe. I don't know where yet. I only have one gig booked so far, which is on April 25th in Haarlem, in the Netherlands. So I'd love to have more gigs in the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Denmark, anywhere around there. Switzerland, Berlin. I'd love to play in Berlin. So far, the only thing I have booked is Haarlem in the Netherlands. But I shall be for 3 weeks in and around the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, and Denmark. And to that person who just showed up late, this will be going out on my YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook channels, or whatever they're called, after it's over, and it'll be going out in podcast form if you look for This Week with David Rovix wherever podcasts are found. It'll be on podcast form soon after. And for those who missed my non-commercial announcements, I'm going to Minnesota on Friday. If anybody's in Minnesota, especially in the 1st Congressional District of Minnesota, I'll be barnstorming around there from the 25th of this month until the 3rd of April with Rick DeVoe. Check out votedevoe.us and see what we're up to. Also, davidrovix.com/tour. I'll list any gigs I have, like the one in Red Wing coming up next Saturday. And then next month on April 18th, I fly away to Frankfurt, Germany, and I am there in Europe for 3 weeks. And I still don't know where I'm going because I only have one gig booked so far. There is something about booking gigs when there is a massive war going on in Europe that apparently makes it difficult to book the gigs because people are busy doing other things like protesting wars and housing Ukrainian refugees and all sorts of other fine activities, or just cowering and worrying about what's going to happen and not feeling like booking a gig for some reason, you know. But I'll be there, and I'll be doing gigs as long as Europe is still there. I'll be there, and I'll be doing gigs as long as somebody organizes them. And we'll see where or when, but I suspect a tour will be happening. And I will see folks in Europe there next month, and Minnesota next week. And I'll just thank you all for dropping by my space here on the web and wherever you are or we are. Thanks. And here's another song about better times. The 5th month of the year, on the 1st of May, known around the world as International Workers' Day. You'll still see people marching in every corner of the earth. St. John to Santiago, Kerala to Perth, all keeping alive the fantasy what could happen down the line when the workers of the world combine. You can see us gathering early in the morn. Some are celebrating the shackles we have shorn, while so many billions are just waiting for the moment that we might stop losing the class war. When someday we can all say, yeah, we're doing fine. When the workers of the world combine. When that time arrives, maybe it looks like May Day, like a festival that comes home and doesn't go away. Every race and gender, every walk and station, with the working class united, every land and nation. Then just watch what happens when we follow the same side. When the workers of the world combine. Grazie. Ciao. Thanks for listening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. It's nice that it's all kinds of different places. That's still my favorite thing about the internet. But as for the real physical world, I hope to see folks in Minnesota and in at least certain parts of Northern Europe next month. Minnesota next week, Europe next month. Check out davidrovics.com/tour for info on upcoming tour activities. And this little concert will be up in podcast form if you look for This Week with David Rovics, wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks for listening, and I'll see you sometime soon, I hope. Bye for now. Keep on keeping on.